Hei sann, velkommen til Krusers første podcast. Vi har hatt noen runder nå i romjulen der vi har tenkt litt på hvordan vi best kunne dele litt av de temaene vi er egentlig veldig opptatt av. Først ut skal vi ha en prat med Jeff Butler. Han er editor og publisher av plugboats.com. Det er verdens største elbåtblogg. Og vi går igjennom en del temaer rundt elektrisitet, miljøvern, så god fornøyelse.
So Jeff, I did some research on you. I saw that you had like 17 different jobs the last 41 years.
Is that many?
Yeah,
that's only the ones I listed.
Yeah, that's one that you listed, right? so it would be interesting just so the listeners can get the idea on who you are. Can you and what's important for you?
If I could figure out who I am, then I would tell you. But I started out in magazines, doing magazines because my father did magazines, and so when I was young, I would go and help him, work at the newspaper and the magazine. And then when I needed a job, that's where I went and got a job. So I was always interested in, so I'm old. So that was like in the late 70s when I first started working. But I was always interested, and my family was always interested in not wasting fossil fuels and in the environment. So we weren't like a crazy green family, with solar panels in 1963 or something, but it was always something that was of concern. So then I worked in the magazines for a while, and I was kind of successful at it. Then I went into advertising. I went into advertising because I played in a rock and roll band with a bunch of people that were in advertising. And so I wanted to get out of magazines, and they said, well, why don't you come and get a job in advertising? So I went and got a job in advertising. And I was very lucky there, and I worked on very big projects for Pepsi-Cola and Foster's Brewery and things like that. In fact, I think, I don't know, I did a commercial for Pepsi for a brand called Team, which is like lemon lime. And it ran in the oddest places in the world. It ran in Brazil, Cyprus, Netherlands, Saudi Arabia, and Finland and Norway. Anyway, so I did that. Then I went and directed television commercials. But I also, when I left advertising, I wanted to start a magazine about the environment, but based on the capitalism of the environment, because I knew that advertisers, they still want to sell product. And so it was based on that idea of, let's not think of the environment as something that is outside capitalism. It's not going to work unless people can make money at it. So then I went back and I started directing television commercials. And then I started my own ad agency. And then after that, then I said, I'm tired of this. So then I started to work on solar energy. So I did a blog about solar energy. And then through that, I saw solar boat races. And then through that, I saw the Monaco solar boat race. And then I said, well, that would be a very cool thing to have here in my city of Toronto. And so I went to the port of Toronto and said, how about we have a solar boat race here? And they said, well, that would be cool. And then as I was working on that, I went to the Toronto Boat Show. And so I was talking to people about, like I needed a floating dock, a temporary floating dock. So I went to see somebody about that. And I went to see some boat builders so that they would participate with the students and give expertise in building the boats and things. And so that was in January of 2019. And all of the people that I talked to, even the guys that, kind of old school gas boat guys, they said, oh, well, something's going to happen with those electric boats one day. And so anyway, I literally went home that weekend, and I had done this blog about solar energy, but there's like 1,000 blogs about solar energy. And then I had another blog about what I was talking about electrifying everything. And then I said, well, I know how to do this. So I'm just going to start a website about electric boats. Then I had 1,500 views in February. And then I posted some things on Facebook, and then the English Boat Association said, boy, this is great. Yeah, why don't you send it out to our members? And then I had 3,500 views, and then I had 6,000 views, and then I had 10,000. And then so now I haven't looked today because I don't look every day anymore. Like in this year, probably 1 million views. So it just grew and grew and grew because, it was just good timing. And I didn't know, I shouldn't, it's not that I didn't know anything about electric boats. I didn't know very much about electric boats. Like I have boats, but gasoline boats, I've had them for years. And about 5 years ago, when I first saw Torpedo, I thought that would be a neat thing to look at, but then, didn't do anything about it. So that's how much I knew about electric boats. And then because, in advertising, you do a lot, like you might be writing about, cheese one day, and then you might be writing about software the next day. And then I used to do the advertising for the Ontario Hydro Corporation, which is how I know a lot about electricity and the electricity market. So I just started researching, and I would write about Evoy, and I would then find out about the background, and then that's what happened. So now I'm doing plug boats, and I did the Gustave Trouvé Awards, and we had 10,000 plus views for that, and there are votes for that. And now I'm on the board of the Alternative Fuels Committee of Inland Waterways Association. So it's because a bunch of fossil fuel boat guys said to me, something's going to happen with those electric boats one day.
That is a really cool introduction.
Yeah, that's the short story.
Yeah, exactly. We had a little bit discussion earlier on what society need to do to get more environmentally friendly, or do you see anything in a way you can influence?
I think that I also work with some people here who are very keen on having more electric vehicles in Canada, because we are far behind on electric vehicles. And that is partly because, to a larger degree, because a big part of the economy in the province where I live, in Toronto and Ontario, has been building cars for the American car companies. Right? Like Buick cars, Buick cars of GM. So they actually started in Toronto, 100 years ago, and then he sold that company to General Motors. But there was car building plants here, and it is a big part of the economy here. And so I think we're at the point where the car companies are now realizing that there's no going back. It's electric vehicles here on in. Everybody knows that. And now they are ready to make the big shift. They wouldn't make the big shift before, as I say to this organization that wants more electric vehicles. I said, no company, and I have worked like with lots of big companies with, the heads of the big companies, as well as the people lower down. No company walks away from the thing that makes them the most money. And so if you are a car company that has been building fossil fuel cars and making lots of money for yourself and your shareholders for 80 years, you are not going to walk away from that unless you have to. Now we're getting to the part where they are realizing that they need to walk away and that there is profit in the new cars. And once that gets to that point, then there's no looking back. So when it comes to electric boats, I say to people that I think that electric boats are kind of 6 years behind electric cars. So where Tesla was 6 years ago and where the EV market was 6 years ago, that's where electric boats are. And so, but then it will move faster. Well, I don't know if it will move faster than cars, but as it all changes, then there won't be any gas motors anymore.
Yeah.
I
agree.
That's kind of what I have noticed. And I've also noticed that when I first started plug boats, I had to go out on the internet and search everywhere for something about electric boats. Now I get 2 things a day from people saying, can you write about me? Can you write about me? Oh, I'm starting a new boat in Russia. I'm starting a new boat. I got one this morning, a new boat company in Italy. I've got a new battery that I'm adapting for marine use instead of cars. So I can just see it getting bigger and bigger and bigger every day.
What do you think is your contribution to society and humanity as a whole?
Well, I mean, my contribution is, informing people about the options that are available, which is really that's the most feedback I get from people is, oh, thank you. I couldn't find out anything about this before.
Okay.
I was interested in it, but I didn't know where to go. And, I think for most people that the first thing was like me, they go on the internet and they put in an electric boat and Torpedo comes up. Well, whether that's good or bad, I don't know, but that's what comes up. So I'm happy now when I go on the internet and go to research something, then a plug boats thing comes up and I say, I don't want that. I want something new. But I think that is the biggest thing is just spreading the information and telling people about the benefits of it. Like I'm doing a virtual seminar on Monday for the Toronto Boat Show because it can't go, but and I did one last year and people, most people want to do the right thing. Most people now or many people are realizing that it's, it's not good to keep dumping carbon into our atmosphere. But it's not the most important thing for them in their life. The most important thing for them in their life is making sure their kids are fed and healthy and those things, right? And a car and a gasoline boat, they're pretty good inventions.
Right? Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You hop in, you turn a key, boom. You have fun and you're there. Right?
Yeah.
But they want to do the right thing, but you kind of need to let them know that there is another option, and B, help them along in encouraging them, telling them why that is a better option and giving them the reason to do that. So I think that is kind of what I don't have any grand vision of I'm going to change the world in a huge way. I just think, the more people out there talking about it, the more people finding out about it, the more they will go and ask about it, the more demand there will be for, services such as yours. I mean, I can see that where I live in Toronto, that an electric boat sharing service would be great because people don't have the time or the money to go and own their own boat. But they would love the idea of I pay a membership, and then I can go and rent a boat for 2 hours and go out in the harbor and have fun and and have zero emission. Even better.
Yeah.
The more people talking about it and the more people finding out about it, then the more it's so, if I'm going to change the world, it's going to be one little bit at a time, not because I'm the New York Times and telling people what to do.
Yeah. But what kind of actors do you believe should
I think people ask me why Europe is so far ahead of North America in electric boats, and it is undeniably because of regulations that were put in Europe to protect inland lakes, where fossil fuel boats were banned. Because in Europe, that's where the drinking water comes from, is inland lakes. There must be 20,000 lakes in my province. So there's no government desire or public desire to ban fossil fuel boats on them for the drinking water. I think that what you'll see is because of noise in some of them, there will be people starting to say, let's not have fossil fuel boats. But so to answer your question simply, we do need government to be involved. It will not happen, and it will not happen quick enough without government giving some kind of either restrictions or encouragements for things. So here I started the Electric Boat Association of Canada, and just a couple of months ago, our government has given some incentives for environmental projects. So I'm now starting to approach them about some of our canals, encouraging electric boats on some of those canals and things. So, but you need the government to do that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And that is also the reason why Norway is so. I have 52% of all cars in Norway, I think, are electric. So, and that you need to do some incentives. I totally agree.
Well, I can tell you. So we, until 2 years ago, we had a government in Ontario. So just to let you know, Ontario is the biggest province of Canada. So Canada, is a huge country, has 38 million people. So 16 million of them are in Ontario, and 6 million of them are in the area where I live.
Yeah.
So just to give you some idea, so in the province of 16 million people, when we had incentives for buying electric vehicles were, let's say, it wasn't very many, but let's say, I think we sold 30,000 electric vehicles. A new government came in and took away the incentives, and it went down to 8,000.
Yeah.
The government needs to, because you to get to that tipping point, you need the government to help you get to that tipping point. Once you get there, then capitalism takes over, and you're done.
Yeah. And that is what I think maybe Tesla had done correct. They focused very much on the infrastructure in the start, and at the same time they were attractive to look at and so.
Well, I think that one of the important things that he did, I first read about Elon Musk 10 years ago. It might have been more than that, when he was just starting out, because I read an article about this guy that was trying to build an electric car company, but more importantly, he was building a charging system, right? And to me, I think that was one of the key things with Tesla, was saying, we're going to take care of that charging system for you as part of the whole infrastructure.
Yeah.
And because they need to work together. And he was also clever in the idea of recognizing what I said before, he made them look like space age gasoline pumps, because that people go, I know what a gasoline pump does. So this was like a space age gasoline pump. They didn't realize that they could have done it in their own home, because the convention is, oh, it runs down, then I go to a pump, right? So he was clever in that, in a million ways. But I think that his emphasis on the infrastructure and his emphasis on it not being a car company but a technology company are keys to all of it. Yeah. That's why I asked you. It's sort of why I asked you the question about Kruser. Are you a technology company? And so I think that was a great answer. That you are an entertainment company. An experience company. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we should be, because it's all about the customer and the experience, right? And yeah.
Right. And people. This isn't exactly right, but they're not coming to Kruser because you're zero emission. They're coming to Kruser because they want to have a good time. And it's a nice experience going out on a nice quiet boat, and it doesn't cost you as much as a whole boat. And that's what they are buying, is the experience, not.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the zero emission is part of it, but you're right. You're selling an experience. Come out and have a nice day with your friends in nice quiet, and you won't be doing any harm to the environment.
Yes.
Oh, count me in.
Yeah.
So because I always, like when I was boating also, like I've never, since I was a kid, I've never gone water skiing or I'm not a saint. I have burned gasoline when I shouldn't have, but I've always gone, I don't see any point in just going out and burning gasoline just to go have fun. I never got that. Now, I have been out 3 times on jet skis burning gasoline for fun, and it was some of the most fun I've ever had in my life. But I never did it again, because I just went, that's not a good reason. If you have to burn gasoline to get somewhere, but if you're burning it for fun, that's not a good thing to do.
Yeah, I totally agree. But at the same time, I also think that it's all about helping people to make the right choices. So I think that people should, if people enjoy doing water ski, I think they should do it.
Oh,
but I think it's my mission to help them do it in an environmentally friendly way.
Absolutely, I agree. I don't frown on anyone who. If they, I used to smoke. I don't get mad at smokers. I say, I understand smoke. I don't want to do it. I understand you want to go water skiing and jet skiing, but you're right. Now I say to them, there's an electric jet ski now from Montreal, and they, and most people go, oh, really? Go, oh, that'd be interesting. Tell me more about it. As I say, they want to do the right thing. Nobody is going out on a jet ski because they have a desire to burn fossil fuels. They have a desire for fun. And if you can say you can have fun on an electric jet ski, they would say, sure, if it fits. I mean, in my presentation that I'm making next week, I say there's the 3 E's, which is, enjoyment, let's call it experience, environment. Actually, I might steal your word. I might steal experience instead of enjoyment. But enjoyment, experience, then there's the environment, and then there's expense. And so everybody in lots of things balances those things and says, hey, it's going to be a great experience. It's quiet. It's smooth. I can talk to my friends. I don't have any bad odors. It's good for the environment. So take that off. And then now, but the expense is, do I think that the other two things are enough for me to pay the extra expense, or do I not have that now? And so I would like, that's what everybody balances all those things in everything they do. That's what I know from marketing. When they go to the store, they say, well, I'd like to have that, I'd love to have that $400 bottle of champagne, but if I do that, then I have to trade off somewhere else. It's all figuring out what is the best thing.
Yeah, it's all about making it more attractive in a way.
Yeah.
To help people make good choices. So yeah.
It's giving people what they want, but in a better way, an improved way.
Mm.
And you saw that yourself with Kruser, that as much as there are lots of people, and by the way, there are more people in Europe that would like to go out for slow boat rides than there are in North America. But as much as, you originally had the green wave boats and it's a nice cruising experience, people love to go fast.
Yeah, I think so. And
some people love to go fast, and you need to give them the option for saying, here's a fast one that also has no emission.
Yeah. You still see that in average in 90. Don't take me on the. I'm not sure if the statistic is right. But I think it's around 90 to 98% of the times the boats do less than 10 knots.
Right. But everybody remembers the time when they did 35 knots.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's it's fun. It's fun to go fast.
Yeah, it is.
So and as I say, there are lots of people that are happy to go 6 knots, but there will always be people that if they want to go 35 knots or 40 or like how fast, and if you don't have an electric boat that does that, you can talk all you want about, environment and blah, blah, blah and quiet. They'll say, oh, good. How fast does it go?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to wrap it a little bit up, but I have 2 more questions for you.
Yeah.
So
I will try to make them a little bit shorter.
So how do you envision the future for boating? Where do you think we are in 5 to 10 years?
Well, as I say, I think it will be about 6 years behind electric cars. Mm-hmm. So, I think electric boats are certainly less than 1% of all boats. So maybe it will be 5% or 7% of all boats in 6 or 7 years. I think that also it will be because of the just the physics of traveling through water rather than traveling through air. There will be certain boats that will turn over to electric more quickly. So I think you'll see more boats like the Green Line yachts or the or silent yachts, solar ones, big boats like that they haven't been concerned about going fast. They have been concerned with having a nice luxurious time, a nice pleasant time in a big boat on the water. I think that they will grow in popularity. I think that the smaller boats, the little fishing boats, the 7 kilowatt, 9.9 horsepower ones will grow. I think that the last ones to grow will, and I think like the green waves will grow, and those boats, kind of displacement boats, that go 6 knots or whatever. I think the most difficult one is that market that is the speedboat, just because you're fighting against physics all the time with the battle of the weight of the battery versus the power of the motor and how long you want to be there. So I think just physics will make those the last ones to turn, and also because of the expense. Like Candela is an amazing boat, but it costs 250,000 euros or something, right? Not many people can afford that. But also, those are the things like Tesla that drive the market. And I don't especially mean hydrofoiling boats, but speed boats. Although they're expensive, the rich people buy them, and then that makes it more affordable for the others as there's more demand. So that's the long answer. The short answer is I say 5 or 6 years behind electric vehicles.
What does it take for all of us to make more environmentally friendly choices?
Well, I think you are starting to see it now, that more and more people, and especially young people, are aware of the dangers of the dead end of continuing the way that we have been, that things have gone. So that is the first thing. And that is, I think, we're now at the point where the young people obviously know it. I think we're at the point where the old people know it as well. They can know, it can't be denied anymore. There's less and less people that try to deny it now. More and more people saying, no, stop it. You're not telling the truth. So I think that is the first thing. And then once you do that, then it's kind of, I don't know if you have that expression in Norwegian, the carrot and the stick, which is the temptation and the punishment. That's kind of the punishment. And then the carrot is, you can help this without sacrificing your lifestyle by having an electric vehicle, by having an electric boat, by eating less meat, by doing all kinds of things, that you'll still have a wonderful life. In fact, in lots of ways, it will be better now that you realize that you can't have the life that you used to have. So, I am an optimist. I think we are, for lots of reasons, at the tipping point. I don't think we've, we talked about batteries, and from when I was working on solar panels and things. I mean, we are only at the beginning. Like, the batteries are just going to get better and better and better and better. And although it may be incremental, if you look at like Bloomberg's new economy, the price per kilowatt hour of a battery 8 years ago was $1,000. Now it's less than $150, and it will be less than $100 certainly by 2021, maybe by the end of this year. And once it gets below $100, then it'll be below $50. And and when it gets down there, then people don't need to make a decision anymore. The decision becomes easy.
Yeah, the best choice.
Yeah. So I think we are actually at the tipping point on a lot of these things. Like tipping point, I mean in a good way. So that by tipping point, I mean like this, and then that part on the hockey stick.
Yeah.
On lots of things, we're at the good part of that. I think you're in a good position. I think you will be able to get to your goals.
That would be very cool to do that kind of impact.
No, I think I'm not saying this just because we're talking. I think it is a great idea. I think it solves a lot of problems for people, in terms of the cost of a boat, and gives them lots of great affordable opportunities. And I think it especially fits in with the growing model especially for young people, of a sharing, economy of ride sharing, of sharing all these, not owning things, of participating in the experience and sharing them. So I think you're at the right part of the hockey stick as well. Well, you're there now, but soon you'll be there.
Yeah, I hope so. I really hope so. Yeah. Actually, when we started and asked around on electric boats, the boat guys we were talking to said that wouldn't work for 5 to 10 years. But now, and we just say, sorry, we are delivering the first ones in May. Information is the key here, as you said.
Yeah, my biggest wish would be more people becoming more aware of the consequences of fossil fuels and the huge opportunities of electrifying everything. Although it doesn't seem it sometimes. People are generally good and want to do good things. And I think when you give them the information and the power to know what those good things are, then most people will do it.
Yeah. And here I think you are doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Well, it's fun. I need to start making a little bit of money off it. I need to make some more because it takes up a whole bunch of time now. But I always knew that. But I'm kind of there as well. So
yeah.
So I'll just tell you something. I skipped out one part of my life, which was working on a mobile app startup. Which is actually going very well. I'm not involved in it day to day anymore, but I was one of the first people there. And every meeting I went into in 2012, every meeting started out with, do you think smartphones will continue to grow, that they will be the future? Right? That was, I had to answer that question. Can you imagine answering that question? I said, I pull out a chart and I say, look, iPhone started in 2008 and now it's at 27% penetration. What do you like, without saying, are you out of your minds? But it's the same thing now, right? They say, well, do you think these electric boats will work? And you go, are you kidding me? Just watch.